Today on Rappler. Alex Eala makes history again, defeating world number 15 Clara Towson in her US Open debut. The Office of the President wants a 72% increase in its budget for 2026.
Ang palor ng kanilang trabaho is zero, complete zero.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. slams road projects on Kennon Road. Public Works Secretary Manuel Bonoan is poised to stay as the department's chief. And a global hunger monitor says Gaza City is officially experiencing famine. Filipina tennis ace Alex Eala makes history again with a big win in a Grand Slam main draw. Eala stuns world number 15 Clara Towson of Denmark in the opening round of the US Open in New York, winning a thrilling match 6-3, 2-6, and 7-6 on Monday, August 25 Manila time. Down 1-5 in the final set and close to losing, Eala fought back by winning 5 games in a row, then won the nail-biting tiebreak. With the Filipino crowd behind her, Eala stayed composed and forced an error to win after 2 hours and 36 minutes. She became the first Filipino to win a Grand Slam main draw match in the Open era. Eala's debut in the US Open main draw felt very much like a home match.
And I don't have a home tournament, so to be able to have this community here at the US Open, that they made me feel like I'm home.
The fans played a big role as their cheers bothered Towson, who complained about being distracted by their noise when the ball was on play. At one point, the umpire even reminded the fans, please don't be too excited during the point. The Office of the President asks for a 27.28 billion peso budget for 2026, representing a 72% increase from the current year's 15.8 billion pesos. About 17.5 billion pesos will be used to host the ASEAN Summit in the Philippines. Out of the 17.5 billion pesos, 10.7 billion pesos will go directly to the Office of the President. Similar to 2025, the Office of the President is requesting 4.5 billion pesos in confidential and intelligence funds. It is also asking for 1.01 billion pesos for the President's local and foreign trips, slightly lower than the 1.2 billion pesos it received in 2025. Meantime, the Office of the Vice President proposes a 902.8 million peso budget for 2026, a 20% increase from its 744 million peso allocation in 2025. Note that the original 2026 budget proposal from the Office of the Vice President was only 733 million pesos. The Department of Budget and Management later raised it to 902.8 million pesos. The 2026 budget does not include any confidential funds for the OVP, which were one of the issues mentioned in the now-shelved impeachment complaint against Duterte. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. inspected 2 road projects along Kennon Road in Tuba on Sunday, August 24. He arrives at Camp 6 to assess the 260 million peso rockshed at mill site. The President says the project had failed to protect the slope it was designed to secure.
Ang palor ng kanilang trabaho is zero, complete zero. Parang walang ginawa. Sana hindi, pareho lang. Kung hindi, wala silang kinayo, wala silang linagay na wall, wala silang linagay na riprap, wala silang linagay na slope protection, ganun din ang nangyari.
The 152-meter rockshed finished in September 2024 after 3 years of building stayed strong during Typhoon Emong in July 2025. However, soil erosion at its base caused damage under the road. Marcos estimates fixing the rockshed would cost over twice its original budget or more than 500 million pesos. He calls the situation economic sabotage, pointing to wasted government money. He adds, road closures from the failed project quickly cut off about 35% of the community's economic activity. Public Works Secretary Manuel Bonoan is poised to stay in his post as he announces an internal cleansing of his department. This comes as the Public Works Department faces backlash amid back-to-back exposés of corruption in flood control projects. In an interview with DZBB Radio on Saturday, August 23, Bonoan said he was surprised by reports of ghost projects and DPWH personnel are unable to validate every project. He says his agency must now identify personnel involved in anomalous projects, have them prosecuted and sanctioned to serve as a lesson. He earlier announced that he had dismissed Bulacan's first district engineer and other officials of the district engineering office. Many of the allegedly anomalous flood control projects are in Bulacan province. There was talk last week of Bonoan being replaced amid the flood control corruption scandal. Aquino Admin Public Works Secretary Rogelio Babe Singson earlier told ABS-CBN News he had received feelers about returning to the DPWH. But Bonoan's statements indicate he will remain in office. A global hunger monitor says Gaza City is officially in famine. The Integrated Food Security Phase Classification or IPC system says some 514,000 or nearly one-fourth of Palestinians in Gaza are experiencing famine. The number is expected to rise to 641,000 by the end of September. This is the first time the IPC recorded famine outside of Africa. To be classified as in famine means 20% of a region's people are suffering extreme food shortages and 1 in every 3 children are malnourished. It also means at least 2 out of every 10,000 people die daily from starvation, malnutrition, and disease. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres calls for a ceasefire between Israel and the Palestinian militant group Hamas. Guterres said in a statement the Gaza famine was a, quote, man-made disaster, a moral indictment, and a failure of humanity itself. UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk says the famine in Gaza is the direct result of Israeli government actions, warning it could amount to a war crime. The UN and other advocates say actions by Israel and lawlessness have impeded the entry and distribution of aid in Gaza. Israel dismisses the IPC report as false and biased. And that's today's wrap. I'm JC Gotinga. Thank you for watching. Click the link below for the full story. Follow us on Rappler's YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok.